Okay, thanks for that reminder. It slipped my mind. So basically, burden is what you're going to prove in this debate. Like, what is it that you choose to prove in this debate in order to win this debate? Okay, that's burden basically. I'm repeating it because this didn't get recorded. I won't be repeating things from here on. What is agency? Agency, I'm not going to explain because I never use the word. So, why the question? Um, Should the PMLO state some arguments completely? Yeah, if you have the time, Kushagra, if you think, yeah, you have 6 minutes, you're 10th graders. So, yeah, you can definitely do proper analysis for our specific arguments. That's doable. What is preemption? See, preemption is, that's a good question, Ishan, because the first speaker rule states preemption at PO. Preemption is when I guess what the other side might say and then try to rebut it even before they have made the argument. Okay. So maybe I will guess that you will say that helicopter parenting is bad on opposition because children feel pressurized all the time with their parents being so watchful. I know that you're going to make this argument, so I preempt it as in I rebut it even before you're making it. So my leader of opposition might make this argument, but I'm already rebutting it before them making it in order to ensure that my point stands and theirs does not. Okay, that's preemption. Let's see. Is it written as 5 in the PPT? Oh, it is written as 5. Okay, that might be a typo. We'll correct that. It's 6 minutes, okay? 6 minutes of speaking time. Can for senior category. Can our speech be like a story covering all arguments and points? It can be. I mean, it can be very narratological, no problems with that, as long as you have some logical arguments as well. What is the okay? I have taken these questions. So preemption is like prediction. Yes, that's a good way of putting it. So like a straw man argument, not a straw man. No, straw man is negatively used. It's predicting what somebody might say and like mitigating the harm it will cause beforehand. What are stakeholders? Stakeholders are people who are impacted in the debate. So, for example, this house supports helicopter parenting. Here, the parents, the children are major stakeholders. Okay. And like, yeah, so these are stakeholders, the people who are impacted by the debate. So, what should be the order in which we explain burden? There is no order. This is a good question, actually. Actually, there's no order. So, if I think for the order that works the best and is the most logical is the one where you start with where is this debate happening? Who are the people in it? And what do the terms mean? So status quo, stakeholders, and characterization of terms. But you can also like mix up the order. It doesn't really matter as long as you're talking about everything. Are the speaker roles according to name in the list? No, speaker roles can be decided by you. They can also change in every round. So let's say if me, Navika, and Kyra are a team, we can also just like, so if Kyra goes first speaker, Navika goes second, and I go third. In the next round, Navika can go first, Kyra can go second, I can go third again. So it's like you can change. It's up to the teams. So what should be the order in which we explain burden? Okay, this is already covered. Ma'am, do we have to use our speeches for both rebuttals and presentation of case? Yes. This one speech will have everything. Okay, don't expect separate time for speech rebuttals or engagement. Elaborate on how to mention arguments. Like only I'll elaborate on that, Anush. Don't jump the gun. Okay, so all the other questions are just repeat questions. We'll move on. So basically, speaker two now, okay? Speaker two, obviously, because your first speaker does not analyze all the arguments properly, the first thing you're supposed to do is analyze the existing arguments on your side. Give more examples, give more analysis, do more value addition to the existing arguments to make them sound more convincing. But secondly, you also need to rebut the other side because now the other side is actively attacking your case. So the second speaker's responsibility are to extend and expand your own case, but also rebut the other side for the things that they're saying. The second speaker has the liberty to introduce new arguments also, which the first speaker did not mention. You can introduce new examples, new analysis, whatever helps your case. It's as simple as that for second speakers. Now, an frequently asked question is, what should I do first, rebuttals or rebuilding? Rebuilding is extending your first speaker's case. Well, the answer is you can do either of those things first. Again, there is no strict structure around it, but it is advised that you do rebuttals first or rebuilding first based on what the situation calls for. Sometimes you need to rebut really urgently because the other side made some very good points which will need a lot of time to be properly rebutted. So start with rebuttals in that case. But sometimes the other side is not making a good case. In that case, you don't have to rebut a lot. In which case you can stick to expanding your own arguments to increase the margin of victory. Okay, that's what the second speakers do. Now, for the third speakers, by the time it's your turn to go and speak, a lot of the debate has already happened. Four speakers have gone before you from both sides, two from each side. So you know what both the sides are trying to say. The third speaker's role is then to give a biased judgment. It's also called adjudication, like you can read on the slide. You have to give a biased judgment. Why biased? You're supposed to almost judge the debate, give your justification, but this justification will always be in favor of your side. Okay, you will say, okay, this is what we think has happened in this debate, this is what they said, this is what I said, and or we said, and we think we take this because we were able to explain the points better for so and so reasons, or maybe we win this because they did not rebut these many points of ours, or like we win because the persuasiveness of our arguments is way more than theirs. Give me 1 second, please. Okay, so basically, the third speaker is supposed to compare the cases or the arguments presented by both the sides and prove why their side was better. Give some sort of a logical analysis, persuade the judge, and convince them that your arguments were better by doing comparisons between your case and their case. Comparisons are done on the basis of the common points that you try to prove. For example, the freedom of the child becomes a common point in a debate like this house supports helicopter parenting. Both the sides would want children on their side to have some sort of like independence or like have some sort of freedom. Proposition will say freedom because freedom can happen even with helicopter parenting, and freedom exists even with helicopter parenting because parents themselves will be concerned about it and they will not completely badger you all the time. And opposition will say no, some parents can badger you, so how are you going to ensure freedom? So that is how clashes happen, and you have to identify clashes as whip speakers to analyze them and compare the arguments on the common issues and prove that you are the one who took this common issue or over this common issue because you had better arguments. With this, I'm done with speaker roles. I will take questions on speaker roles for the next 2-3 minutes and then I'll move to other pertinent things. Please ask your questions. I'm not able to connect with my teammates over the WhatsApp group. Please guide further. How can I contact my teammates? This is not the platform to ask these logistical questions. You need to type to this email ID for logistical questions. Questions related to team, I can't talk to this person, that person, those kind of questions. I'm sorry, I sent it to Karthik. Please don't DM me because if you DM me, I end up sending what's supposed to be in public chat ends up going to you. Don't DM. Yes. So basically, see, I shouldn't have to explain things again because we are working on very limited time frame and you will have the recording. So I don't think there's any point in repetition. Please watch the recording. In the third speaker, you're basically supposed to compare what your the arguments made on your side and their side and prove why your side was better and what makes you think that. That's basically what the third speaker does. No, motions are not going to be political. Nobody said that. It's going to be based on environment, related to environment, but not political. Is there suggested number of arguments that should be there in every speech? No, there is no suggested number of arguments. Even if you're making one argument, but it's very, very convincing, I don't mind. Uh, yes, you can do rebuttals, Arush. That's a good question. You can rebut as the third speaker. As a third speaker, you cannot introduce new arguments, though. No new arguments can be introduced, but you can do new examples, new analysis, no new arguments, and you can rebut also. See, whip speaker should go impromptu, ideally, yes, because the whip speaker can't make their speech before listening to everybody. But sometimes you can have some points on you if you're really scared of going impromptu. But yes, in an ideal situation, whip speaker has to be very attentive throughout the debate and their speech is slightly impromptu. So be the whip speaker if you're very confident and like you're okay with doing impromptu speeches. Ma'am, can you provide statistics? No, statistics don't matter. If you want to provide, that's fine, but they don't matter. Logic matters, reasoning matters. Okay, I think that's it. I am overlooking repeat queries that please repeat this, that. Please watch the YouTube, the video, the recording on YouTube. I am not trying to be this person who neglects your request. It's just that we don't have enough time, no? Okay. The structure of an argument now. See, basically, I've told you you're supposed to make new arguments, you're supposed to rebut, you're supposed to, but to do anything, you need a structure. Basically, even for the rebuttal, this structure works well. You need to first have a claim, okay? Claim is, I'm saying this, there is no analysis to this, it's just something I'm saying. Claim is like a heading. Animals are, uh, no, forget animals. Apples are better than oranges. That's a claim. Have I analyzed it yet? No. Are you going to buy this claim just because I'm saying it as the judge? No. So claim is a heading. It is not analyzed. It's just like one declamation that this is the thing or this is the case. After the claim comes your explanation of the claim. So I am saying that apples are better than oranges. What makes me say that? That goes into my analysis. We think apples are better than oranges because apples are not seasonal fruits, or you can have apples round the year. So this becomes a very stable sort of like an option within healthy food practices, right? Or some such thing. Basically, if you're going to prove a particular fruit is better than the other, you need to have some rationale for it. The more arguments you have in favor of it, the better it is. But all of those arguments become a part of the analysis, which help you prove why something's the case, and like why somebody should listen to you. So your claim will work only when it has analysis or explanation, which is the second part of an argument. The third part of your argument is the example. Now, the example is not always internet researched example, okay? Sometimes people say, okay, example is 70% of the women do this, 80% of the people still use their own cars, don't do carpooling. Those are examples, sure, but examples can also be hypothetical, made up. For example, but believable, okay, realistic examples. For example, panel, imagine a woman in rural India who still does not have access to, let's say, clean energy because it's not accessible in rural India. Also, because eco-friendly alternatives are very, very expensive and inaccessible to people in rural India or rural areas. How is this woman responsible for the environmental pollution she causes because she does not have access to alternatives? Even if she wants to use jute bags over polythene, jute bags are too expensive. That's why she can't use them. So, what should she take care of first? Should she take care of her own financial condition, or should she take care of something like environment, which is everybody's responsibility? Now, I've given you an example. This example has not been picked from the internet. Obviously, this woman doesn't actually exist. I don't know if such a woman exists, right? But I am imagining something which is realistic and which is plausible, which is possible, and I'm making an example out of it. I'm sure this woman does not exist, but there are a lot of women in rural India, or there's a lot of people in rural India who go through this situation of not being able to buy eco-friendly products because they're too expensive in the market. So that's how you're supposed to make examples. So much for the structure of an argument. How many of you understand? Any questions about this? Yeah, you can provide evidence in the impromptu round, okay, if you're so keen on doing that. Yeah, so stating claim is not saying something blindly. You always say something, I hope, with some sort of some thinking going into it first. But yeah, claim is just like without analysis. Claim is a heading of sorts. For the whip speaker, as the speech is impromptu, can the other two members help the speaker out with making the speech? Yes, yeah, that's okay. That's teamwork is fine. Ideally, how much time should we spend making one argument? There is no strict rule, but ideally, if you have 4 minutes, then you should give at least two very, very well analyzed arguments. You can also do three based on how fast you speak. Do we have to directly give the state claim or give some introduction? No, you can directly state your claim when you're going into argumentations. Introduction, I already told you, right? It's done by the first speaker. Speaker 1, 2, and 3 in proposition and opposition is different from each team. Yes. One person cannot do two speaker roles, obviously. See, don't ask me questions about statistics. I don't like that because I've already made it clear statistics are not required in this format. You can just give hypothetical examples. You have to sound believable, realistic, convincing through logic, not stats. For seniors, you have 6 minutes. You can do 2 to 3 arguments. You have to really focus on the details. You have to focus on the analysis because everybody comes up with the same arguments on motions. Let me tell you that. So, what makes you unique is how you analyze it. Like how many reasons you can find for a particular claim. That's what makes you unique as a speaker. Point by point is fine, Anjor. Okay, let's move on. Uh, See, for more detailed understanding, you can also go through these slides. I'm not going through it because it's very basic, but you can go through it if you're very confused about uh, how to make speeches. These are very simple examples that can help you in a debate about pizza versus burger. Okay. Our opponents mentioned that burger had more nutritional value than pizza. However, the burger patty is fried and all, which is not good for our health, according to research. Yeah, okay. So this is pretty basic. You can go through it yourself when you have the time. We'll share these slides as well. But let's discuss criteria for adjudicators. See, I think this is the most important thing because that this is how you are satisfied by what the judges are telling you or the feedback they give you. You need to know the basis on which the judges judge you, right? So the first basis is matter. Matter is basically the content, okay? Your logic, your reasoning, your claims, how convincing they are. So matter is what was the actual argument that you presented, basically, or the arguments that you presented. And then the examples, the analysis, the comparisons that you draw, the expansion of arguments of your first speaker, the first speaker's framing, what they put in their framing setup, all of that is part of matter. Okay. Nobody will raise their hand because you can't unmute yourself. Please put your question in the chat box. Uh, so that's matter basically the content that you have, the logical reasoning that you have, the ability to analyze and give rich examples. This will be a part of matter which has equal weightage as other components. So consider it 10, 10, and 10. Although how you're scored in WSDC is different, I'll come to that shortly. Manner is about obviously your presentation. Are you on camera? If you're not on camera, please know that your manner will like your marks from manner will be deducted. Please do not make excuses about not being able to come on camera. You have to be on camera on one day, 3 rounds, not much to ask for. Please arrange for a camera. Uh, so your body language, how your eye contact with the judges, as in you can use notes, but you can't constantly be glued to it, to the notes that you have. You can't be reading off a page. You can't have a script beforehand. So practice your speech beforehand. Uh, so that's manner basically. And method is how are you organizing your arguments? Because see, method is basically you might have a lot of things in your speech, but then this might not be organized well. What does that mean? The first speaker might end up mentioning the arguments first and do the setup at the end. But does that make a lot of sense? Not quite, because setup is supposed to come before the arguments. Only then does it make any logical sense for me to listen to your setup. Because setup is supposed to make your arguments more convincing. If you do the arguments first, then how is the setup going to be of use anyway? So method is how you organize your speech. How much time are you giving to each argument? Have you been able to give equal time to each argument, give good analysis for each argument? Or are you the kind of person who used 4 minutes of the 6 minutes in explaining one argument and now running out of time, you're using the last 2 minutes to run 3 arguments? That's really bad on method because you didn't have a structure, you didn't have like any time management. So time management, structure, how you segue from one argument to another, like how you pass from one argument to another, how you link the various parts of your speech is all method structure. Okay. So now how are you going to be marked? See, matter, manner, and method all are of equal consequence, but matter is slightly more important. The content that you have is slightly more important. So even if you are not so good in manner, let's say you speak really fast or I mean, you look shy, you need filler words like you stop in between. That's still fine. Don't be too scared about stopping in between. Nobody will cut your marks for just like stumbling, fumbling. All of those things are fine, but your content should be good. Okay, content matters the most. Don't be so worried about your accent, pronunciation. Oh, I stop in between my speech. What if I have awkward pauses? All of that is fine. Everybody has them, even I do till date. It's fine. Okay, so that's that. Let's see if there are any questions. Sohani, I'm not taking direct messages. Will this slide be shared like yesterday? Yes, it will be. Not many questions in the chat. Is this to say that everybody is on the same page as me, or is it to say that, ma'am, we're not even listening? Okay, how many of you understand what has been explained so far? Okay, okay. About 40 people out of 70. What are the rest 30 of you doing? Okay, 31. More. I want more people. Where are you? Okay, good. All right. 45 is a good count. Lower your hands. Thank you. Now moving on to POIs, the most important segment apparently, because I had a lot of questions being asked on POIs. For those of you who know nothing about WSDC format, who don't know what POIs are, lower your hands, everybody now. For those of you who don't know what POIs are, I hope I'm audible. Am I audible? Because nobody's lowering their hand even when I told you to. Okay, okay, now you started to. So basically, points of information. These are questions you can ask your opposition teams in between speeches. So how these questions are asked is a little different when you compare this to a conventional debate. Mostly in debates, what happens is that you are supposed to present your speech, and after the speech, the judge asks you a question, or your opponent asks you a question after the speech. Now, things are slightly different when it comes to this format. One, you are asked a question not before or after your speech, but during your speech. I'll tell you how that works shortly. Secondly, you are asked a question not by the judges, never by the judges, always by your opponents. It can be any person from the opposing team. It's not like deputy prime minister will only ask the deputy leader of opposition a question or something. DPM from proposition can ask anybody a question on opposition, just like how anybody from opposition can ask anyone from proposition a question. If that's clear, let's now discuss how questions are asked and answered. You're in a debate room, and let's say I'm the first speaker delivering my speech. I have 4 minutes of speaking time. Let's assume I'm from the middle category. If I have 4 minutes of speaking time, the first minute of your speech and the last minute of your speech will always be protected time. What does that mean? The first and the last minute protected time is the time when nobody can ask you a question, even if they want to. This means that only from the first minute, from the first minute till the third minute, till the end of the third minute. No, so if you have a 4 minute long speech, from the first minute mark till the third minute mark, that's the time that your opponents are going to have to ask you a question. Okay, first and the second and the last minute then is protected time for you to introduce and conclude without interruption. It's the same with the senior category. The senior category will also not be asked a question in the first and the last minute of their speech. They will only be asked a question in between the first and the last minute. Now, okay, ma'am, we understand when to ask a question and when to answer one, but how do we ask? Like, can we just unmute and say things out loud? No. Let's say I am delivering a speech. When I deliver a speech, I will say, okay, hi, I'm Nitiksha. I am the Deputy Prime Minister from my team, and I want my POIs to be asked on through. I mean, I want you to ask your POIs through chat, or I can say, I want my POIs to be asked verbally. Okay, so two preferences. The first preference, that is verbally, I want them to be asked verbally, means that your opponent can unmute and say POI while you're delivering a speech. I highly recommend that you don't take this particular option, because it sometimes becomes very, very distracting when people unmute and ask, say POI all the time in between your speech. The better way is to say, okay, if you have a POI, just say POI, these three letters, not the entire question. Just say these three letters POI in the chat. And if I feel like taking one, I will take it. This is to say that POIs are also optional. Not everybody has to take a POI. So let's say somebody in the chat says POI and you don't want to take it. You can just say, no, I'm not going to take it in my speech. If you want to take it, you can say, okay, you can unmute and ask a POI now. Okay. You cannot decline a POI after somebody has asked you the POI. You can decline it only before they have asked you the POI. Okay. So now that's that. Now I want all of you to just go through these points on the slide as well for your convenience, and then I'll open the floor for questions. So POIs are supposed to be short, less than 15 seconds, which means you should write them beforehand before asking them, okay? Because this wastes the speaker's time. You're taking away the speaker's time as you ask a question. It can't be very lengthy. Can be offered between the initial 1 minute and between first and last minute. I already told you that. Offered to speakers on the opposing side. Obviously, you're not going to ask your own teammates a POI. Speakers can accept or decline POIs. These are not compulsory. And it does not impact your marks either. If you don't take a POI, nobody's going to deduct your marks. It's fine. Great way to show engagement, obviously. All teams should offer POIs, ideally, yes. All speakers should try to take one POI. Two is too many for 4 minute speech. 6 minute speech, you can take two, but I think one POI is more than enough for any speech. Please respect the speaker's preferred way. That goes without saying. Speaker may say yes, no, or ignore the POI altogether. You can't have any complaints about that. Speakers are given the liberty to ignore a POI. Any questions? How to use your voice well? Don't focus on that too much, Pratik. It's fine. Whatever, I mean, it's mentioned oftentimes in manner, but voice basically don't go too fast. Sometimes people try to cover a lot by going very, very fast, and then it's not intelligible anymore, your speech. Just that shouldn't happen. Okay, I don't want anybody to be responding to others, okay? So Adya, don't do that. Don't answer other people's questions. Do you lose points for declining multiple POIs? No. How do we know the time? It'll be on the screen. The judge will present a timer. Doesn't less engagement cut marks? No, not through POIs. POIs are optional. Should we answer the POI during a speaking time or after our argument is complete? Okay, so if somebody asks you a POI, you can tell them, I'll take it after I complete this argument. So it's fine. You can tell them you'll take it after. It says all speakers should try to take one. It's not necessary. It's advised. Okay. Can you give an example of a POI? Yeah, sure. So let's say somebody is saying helicopter parenting is great because children are extremely distracted in the current context. Now your opposition might ask a question saying that, okay, children are distracted, but if children are that, I mean, if you think it's the distraction is that addictive, then how is parents like watching over you all the time not going to make you even more frustrated? Why are you not going to start doing it even more? Because your parents are now frustrating you all the time. So I have asked you a question and you have to respond to it. So that's POI is just basically an interrogative question, interrogative statement. Should end with a question mark, should start with a what, why, how, which. Okay. That's how POI is supposed to be. If we win the tournament, we get to attend Hadar's classes. Okay, that's for later, guys. Don't jump the gun. If you answer a POI nicely, you might get the judge might like your speech in its entirety. Yes. So doing anything nicely will give you good speaker scores. It's not just pertinent to POIs. No, asking and answering POIs don't carry any weightage. Suppose we accept a POI, will marks be cut if we can't answer it? No, they won't be cut. But obviously, if you accept a POI and then you don't answer it, then it's going to create a negative impact. All right. So that's that. Same questions, you're repeating your questions. Now, quickly going through these equity rules, although we don't have to cover them in the class, you can also read it at your own leisure. But just quickly, So every tournament has an equity officer. We maintain discipline and makes the space inclusive for everyone. This means that everybody should have a safe experience in the tournament, which means nobody should feel bullied, intimidated, or any such thing in the room. You're supposed to maintain very strict decorum in the debate rooms. You're not supposed to be condescending. You're not supposed to make the other person feel small. You're not supposed to attack the person. You're supposed to attack their arguments. If any kind of misdemeanor, like transpires, the equity officer has the luxury to decide what's going to happen to you in the tournament. Very serious misdemeanor can also lead to disqualification. Behavior and discipline is of utmost importance at this tournament. Please don't think you will get away with doing anything improper. The equity committee of the tournament can disqualify and discredit participants for rude, irresponsible, and mean behavior. And now I'm just reading out the equity rules so that you don't say eventually that, hey, nobody told us about this, right? This is informed consent on everybody's part. When you all debate, please ensure that all of your focus is on taking down the argument, not on criticizing the person making the argument. Refrain from saying things like the other speakers are not good enough. We expected better competition and better opponents. Those are just very mean things to say. No participant can shout or be overtly aggressive towards other opponents. Debating peacefully is an art which all of us need to appreciate. If anyone has any problems during the tournament, please write to Nitiksha, which is me, who is the equity officer for the tournament, right? But don't just write to me saying, hey, I don't think the judge is judging the right way. There is one important thing. You cannot question the verdict of the judge. And this is something that happens in all the other tournaments as well. The judge's decision is always final and binding, and you participate in the tournament agreeing to that terms and conditions. All right. So the judges are extremely qualified. They'll give you really good feedback. But what's not going to happen is, ma'am, please change the verdict. I don't think they were good enough. Ma'am, please give me a rematch. I don't think they were good enough. Not going to happen. With that, we'll conclude today's session. Don't leave just yet. We have attendance to take. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ishan or Ishal and Ajnor. If you have an important question, please put it in the chat. And with that, Nitiksha, I'll just quickly take the attendance more to make sure that you are well connected with your teams. That's an important thing. So I'm just going to quickly start with middle and go at a fast pace. So please keep pace with me. You can all now see the screen. This is important enough. That's why I'm here doing this personally. Do we have middle team one over here? Are you in touch? Middle team, Avantika, Manika, Arpita, are you here? Okay, Adya, Jay, Devangshi, are you here? Middle team 2. Okay, Ahira, Arnav, Tisha, are you here? Priyansh? Are they able to unmute themselves? Folks, are you able to mute? Do we have middle team 1, middle team 2 here?
Middle team
Ma'am,
2.
middle team
3 is here.
Middle team 2 is here.
Lovely. I thought you guys were not able to. And what about middle team 1? Do we have you here? Okay, middle team 4. Ahan, Darsh, Kabir, are you in touch?
Yes, ma'am, but Kabir isn't here.
No worries,
Kabir
but you guys are in touch, right?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Middle team 5, are you here? Donna, Nora?
Yes, we're here.
Yes, we're here.
Perfect. Middle team 7, Ajnor, Anish, Arna?
Yes, ma'am, we're here.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Here, Angelina, Manan?
Yes, ma'am, we're here. We're just missing one person.
Who's that?
Angelina.
Okay, but you guys are in touch?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 11, Kyra, Sia, Ariana?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Zia, Renisha, Jay?
Yes, ma'am, but my teammates are absent.
This is not the ideal way to do it. But anyway, get them to see the recording. 13, Summer, Riyansh, Hyana? Summer, Riyansh, Hyana, are you here? Okay. Jayvats, Neil, Advita? Advitwa. Are you here, guys? Okay. Kian, Ishal, Diva?
Ma'am, this is Eshil. I am here and I've gotten in touch with Kian, but I'm not able to get in touch with Diva.
Okay. So what we will do today is that we are going to open the groups, okay? Because we want you to just do the introductions, especially when you have a dynamic team, right? You all are from 3 different schools, so we'll help you here. 17, Ronin, Ganeev, Suhana, are you here?
Thank you, ma'am.
Ronin, Ganeev, Suhana, are you here?
Ma'am, Ganeev's here, but I'm not sure about my teammates.
No worries. That's the reason we are doing this. Okay. Nitisha, you
I'm in
could-
touch with them, but I'm not sure whether they're here or not.
oh, you're in touch with them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's okay. That's perfectly fine. Okay. We just want to make sure at least the 23rd is sorted. 18. Utkarsh, Eklavya, you have to be allocated one team member by today. Are you in touch with each other?
No.
Okay. Utkarsh, are you here on the call? Okay, this is okay. So I'm just going to help you here. Parikshit, Vanshi, Ahan, are you here?
Parikshit, I am here. I am Parikshit, I'm here. I don't know about my teammates though.
No worries. Who else said that? Ahan, you said you are here. So you guys can please
Yes, I'm here.
Zoom. Do we have Vanshi also?
Yes, ma'am.
Lovely. Can you please DM each other your contacts as well? Because you are a dynamic team, so I do worry about it. Okay. Naisha, Vihan, Vedant, are you here? Naisha, Vihan, and Vedant, Bajaj. Okay, so two people essentially who are not in touch. Utkarsh, Diva, we'll just circulate.
Wait. Ma'am, I'm here.
You are here. Vedant,
Vedant.
are you in touch with Vihan, Khanna, and Naisha?
Yes.
Oh, you are in touch, all three of you?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, can I mark you then green? Team 20, right?
Sure.
Okay. Last call, team 1, are you here? Avantika, Manika, Arpita? Okay, got it. So this is helpful. Kamal sir, are you here for a quick conversation with the seniors, or would you like me to go?
Yeah, sure. I will just take the attendance of the seniors. Do we have team 1? Reha, Avishka, Avika? No. Do we have team 2? Shanaya, Suhani, Navya Khandelwal? Do we have team 3? Rishan, Anush, Ananya?
Yes, but we are not in contact with Ananya, our third teammate.
Okay, no worries. So we'll color code this one. Okay.
Carry on.
Do we have team 4? Ishan, Prateek, Bharat?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Team 4 is here. Or do we have team 5? Avani, Raghav, Pavi? Jayashree Parival?
Yeah.
Perfect. Do we have team 6? Antonia, Ryan, and R. Balaji? Team 6, Padma Shishadri, KK Nagar.
Let's go. Okay, carry on.
Okay. Team 7, Ashma, Bhargavi, Tavishi.
Yes, sir, we are here.
Perfect. And you are touch. Team 8, Vaiga, Janaki, Iman.
Yes, we are
Yes,
here.
sir.
Perfect.
here.
Team 9, Ananya Jain, Amaira, Viraj B. Bansal.
Yes, sir, we are here.
Perfect. Team 10, Atharv Dangi, Arav, Raina.
We're here.
Perfect. Team 12, Dhyana, Kiadya, Vani, Yadav.
Yeah, yeah.
Team 13, Ansh, Agriti, Prishita not registered. Is Ansh and Agriti here?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
Okay. Please ask Prishita if she's registering too. Contact an ugly number, sure. Then team 14, Diva, Tanisha, Sachi.
Yes, sir, we are here.
Perfect. Team 15, do we have Aditya, Anushka, Krish? Anushka not registered. Do we have anyone? Aditya, Krish? Yes, if your attendance is done or you are from the middle category, you can leave. Okay. No one. Team 16, Sherilyn, Sanvi, and Niyati. I think that they've asked for a change, so we'll come back to team 16. Team 17, do we have Vivan, R, Karthik, Sundareshwaran, and Sanvi?
Yes, we're present, but we're not in touch with Vivan.
Okay.
Okay.
Carry on. Yeah.
Team 18, do we have Navya, Paridhi, Gauri?
Yeah, we're all here.
All in touch. Okay, perfect. Do we have team 19, Aradhya, Shaktam, Kushagra?
Only Kushagra is here, and we are not in touch with Shaktam. Aradhya and I are in touch, yes.
Okay. And then do we have team 21?
Yeah.
Aryan, Tiara, and Avishi. Oh, Tiara, who is here?
Yes.
Aryan.
Yeah.
Again, Aryan, Tiara, please ask Avishi to contact the ugly number as soon
Aryan,
as
are you in
possible.
touch with Tiara?
Yes.
And so two
Avishi
people,
too, yes.
Avishi also, then Avishi is not showing up in the registration. We won't be able to allow her to play. Okay,
Alright, I'll just tell her to register, yes.
register. Maybe she may have registered. Maybe we may have missed it. Just ask her to send a screenshot. Just ask her to contact Ogly number. Okay, so
Okay.
I think that's so the same thing goes for you, Ansh and Agriti. Surprisingly, Prishita is not showing up. I think Krish and Anushka are the ones who are coming back from Oxford, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So okay, perfect. Folks, thank you so much for your attendance right now. I'm going to stop sharing.